Okay, let's get another game. So while we're waiting, let's look at the title players. Lugi is around this morning, crushing people. 3-minute game. Lugi's got passed pawns over here, which look pretty ominous. Maxim Lugi. Or is it Max? Why did I say Maxim? Oh, it is Maxim Lugi. Is there some sort of robot in some science fiction thing? Maximus or something? Maximilian? It ended up being at the Battlestar Galactica or something. It was at the bottom of a black hole. Or am I thinking of something else? Some sort of robot. Maximilian. Quite armed robot. Dangerous one. Okay. Who's optimism? Is he a total bunny or something? Oh. Don't really want to draw. Let's play. Check Benoni. Try and keep it closed. So cujo68. Right, let's try this bishop g5 again. Is he going to play e4? Well, no one's routinely playing e4. Yes, someone's routinely played e4. So let's see, is this any good, this bishop g5? Getting rid of this. So hopefully he's got like dark square weaknesses to exploit. Now, where does the knight want to move? To f6 or to e7? If it goes to f6, I don't really know actually. Castles, knight h5 to f4 later. If it goes to e7, there might be castles f5 later. But is f5 the right plan? Also, this bishop, what if I just get rid of that bishop to get rid of one of these knights? If I just do that, then white's dark square control would be impinged as well, wouldn't it? Bishop g4, I'd take the dark square control, bishop and knight, will be less versatile for protecting dark squares here, but I'm weakening my light squares, which means actually that if I put my pawns on dark squares, I'm weakening even more. So I wouldn't play a plan of f5, f4. Play more piece play after that, like knight e7 to g6 to f4, knight here to here. 1 2 3, 1 2 3 doesn't matter. Plays g3, bishop g2. Playing like king's engine, knight e7, castles f5, f4. I think that's the most fun way of doing it. Let's just leave this on. Castles f5, f4. Keep the light square protection on. Sacks on h3 later. On h3 if we keep this bishop. Ah, what's this? Is it queen a4? I get knight a6 to c5 here. Maybe queen d7 then, to keep protection of d6. Knight c6. Take, knight moves. Bishop d7, queen b4, that's annoying for d6. Queen d7, just castle, I think. Knight a5 here, I think just castle. Although there's knight b5 coming up. There's rook d8 maybe. So if I can get knight a6 to c5, that's a juicy dark square. If validating the exchange of dark square bishops a little bit. So with tempo to c5, that's an unusual one. With queen a4, queen d8, then knight c5 again. With queen b5, queen d8, knight c5, bishop d7 later. Okay, so knight c5 here. Maybe b6, bishop a6. b6, bishop a6. Then rook c8 and target c4. That looks juicy as a plan. That's a beautiful knight on c5. We'll just use this semi-open c file which was given to me on a plate without using f5. Maybe. And this, I don't know, is f5 really useful? I think this idea is better given my bishop's blocked in by the queen. Queen's on. Maybe usefully a4. So inhibiting a4. So b6, bishop a6, rook c8. Then maybe knight a4, take on c4. Interesting. Okay, I'll go ahead with this plan, I think. I can't move at the moment, knight e4. So bishop a6, which rook? a1 or f1? Maybe there's knight g6 here. I'll make sure I can use the queen and maybe kick queen and maybe use f4. I don't really want to play f5, giving white the e4 square, so I think just bishop a6. What's his knight f4 to d3? If he's not going to castle, he's ruling that out and get onto this c4 weakness. Looks like an exploitable weakness on the semi-open c file. Maybe this rook, because this rook belongs maybe over here for f5 or f6. f5 later, maybe. Okay. Knight can always go back to h8. Maybe wait for h5 first. Then to play h6. Queen moves. Then later f5 or something. So I think for the moment, keep on targeting position E. I don't want to allow h6. I think h6 there just in time, hitting the queen. After h5, queen moves. So knight e7 or knight h8. Knight e7 is probably better, but supporting f5 if needed. h5, h6, and knight e7. That was queen f5, take, knight e7. Can I just double here, rook c7, rook c8 later? If he plays like g4 in that line, double. Okay. So h5. Oh, e4's on. Oh, that spoils the game a bit. That's a shame. e4's on. Weakness of the last move. It's an important centre pawn. I don't think it's good sacrifice. I'll just play knight c5 now. Back. That means knight e7 to f5. That there's no pawn there. He does get h6 in on the bright side. And this knight f5, queen g5, f6, and taking with the knight. Because that does protect g7. There's queen g4 there. Oh, I'll give him the pawn. I want to block this rook. I don't think it's that dangerous at the moment. Well, knight e5 takes on there. f6. Queen g5 is f6. I think knight f5 for like s6. So knight d5 if the queen's not protecting e2 or nothing's protecting e2. So f5, f4 will be good as well. Also there's queen a4 if needed, but I don't want this queen manoeuvre. It's a bit dangerous for the pawn. There's queen, so keep the queen on around here near the king. So, plan f5. Can't see much. Knight g5. I mean, I'm on e6. So f5, f4 looks pretty good. Take. Fracturing pawns. Fracture. You know, isolate pawns. Double up rooks. This rook's not doing anything there. If I can double up rooks there, then maybe knight f5 to d4 later, following up, or trebling first. Rook f4, knight f5, queen f7, then knight d4. All sorts of things, but I think f5 brings the rooks to life. Something about yesterday's loss, actually, technically. I mean, technically it was a brilliant game from White, but the rook active, I was factoring in. I wasn't really factoring in how active the rooks were, and I thought it was about level, but really White was on the verge of winning potentially as the game demonstrated. I think the rook activity is important to sort of compare all the time. So here I'm getting better rook activity. I think he's wasting a bit of time with this, provoking me to get better rooks. So once there's better rook activity, that could spell the end, I think. Especially trebling, actually, just taking rook now on queen f5, trebling on f3. Imagine that would be quite dangerous. So maybe a knight d5, bishop e2, rook f3. If I treble on f3, just have to knock out e2. So knight d5 taking, then knock out f3. Once it gives me double rooks on f3, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But rook activity in the initiative, I think, is just as important. I think as checking for, I was checking for d5 and d4 control, but really it was the rooks that were quite destructive tactically in the position. I suppose you can regard them as tactical elements, but the longer term strategic elements just were irrelevant. It was knight e5 here though takes. He's on there. Queen rook f7 saves it here. Okay. He's played that. I think rook f7 saves it. Is there any better move apart from Rook F7? I can't see it. Is that some sort of trap attempt? Good idea if thinks the position's going downhill, I suppose it was. To set some sort of tactical trap sometimes. But King is exposed now as well on the E file, so knight F5 Rook E8 looks pretty game over. Okay. Yes. We're going to have a quick look at this game from the start. We've got chance now. Check Benoni. Seems quite a dangerous weapon. I've been wanting to play this bishop G5. You see, this weakens dark square, so getting rid of the dark square bishop. And now he's sort of emphasising dark squares that I've got. This beautiful C5 knight. And now this C4. And the E4 of course helps. Dropping a centre pawn. The knight sack doesn't look sound. So check Benoni now. It's been an interesting weapon of choice for a bit of variety. Okay. Alright, right, careful not to get mated here. Was bishop G4, game's not over yet. Knight F5, bishop G4, there's rook E8 though. If it takes, take with the queen, not with the rook. So I need to be able to play rook E8. The fat lady has not sung yet. She's just warming up her voice for singing Afik at the moment. Or maybe stage further. There's a piece down for white. The fat lady might be approaching the centre stage to start singing very, very shortly. So, okay. Rook E8 coming up. Excitement of the E file. The rooks revelling on the F and E files. Get this queen away from that G7. Mind you, my queen's also protecting G7 now indirectly. So even if the rook moved, it's still not mate. There's knight G4, of course, to factor in. Okay, an exchange sack, rook E8, knight F6, take, take. What method of destruction have I got there? I've got knight D3 check simply if I want to win back the exchange. Okay. Right. Look forward to rook E8. What barrier is going to be in the way now? Rook G1 for a rook sack. H7. King takes. Is that dangerous? Can't see it. Rook G1 might threaten knight F5. That's queen F5. That's okay. Well, I can start pinning, I think. That knight indirectly, so takes. It was knight D3 would have won the queen. Whoops. Weakness of the last move. Oh dear, oh dear. What a muppet. Oh dear. Ah, that's a shame. That's a shame. Sorry. Bad discipline. I had so much time as well. Knight D3 check. Oh, that would have been a classic. Oh. Okay. Okay. No need to panic here, except for G7 though. I'm going to get his queen off this diagonal. Knight takes E3, try and be brilliant now. I'm going to lose horribly. Bishop takes queen. There's knight G2 check there. King D1. Actually, that might work if knight E4 first. Let's try knight E4 first. Takes. No, I don't know actually. He's going to stay on that diagonal, isn't he? For the cheapo. Alright, go for this cheapo again. Knight D3. Maybe he won't spot it this time. No, he does spot it. Okay. Well, there's rook E3 here. Ah, simply rook E3. Because knight E3 and knight G4. In fact, knight E3 check would have done it as well. Oh dear, I've put my foot off the gas. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's just complacency. It's just like, I think, you know, resign already. Rook E3 is okay. No. I've got reserve backups for G7. Reserve backup protection. Queen on D7. Rook on F7. Okay, he's going to run his timeout like a Warzone player. Queen G4, give him that little hope that my rook's going to go off and let him mate me as well. Okay, so I think Queen D3 here. Okay, so knight D3, just Queen F3. Queen F3, King C2, there's Queen D3. Otherwise his rook's dropping off here. Well, there's knight E4 here. I'll just check, I think. And have King C3, knight A4. Yes, okay, 2 points after that. No, anyway, so it was a check Benoni with Bishop G5 able to get in. Dark square consequences for white here. Unsound piece sack. Missed another weakness of the last move. So destructive for these weaknesses of the last move. That he just weakened D3. So there was knight D3. Missed that. The gates opening and closing all the time. Oh well. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks so much.